final item is item 10F, adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with ARG Construction Services, Inc. in the amount of $35,063 for transportation, assembly, and installation of the wood carving recovered from 324 Florida for display at the San Bruno City Hall, and authorizing acceptance of a donation in this amount from Recology San Bruno to cover the cost of this contract.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. City Council probably recalls that in October of 2014, the City Council authorized myself and the City Attorney to complete the purchase of the property at 324 Florida for the purpose of a future new park on the east side of our community. As the City Council is also aware, during the demolition of the various structures on the site, the city needed to determine what to do with a magnificent piece of art that was part of the purchase of this unique property. I'll ask if you can show a picture. This piece of art was created by the master Swiss wood carver who constructed and resided in the property at 324 Florida during the early part of the previous century, the 1900s, in the early 1900s. Mr. Francois Perissot, a Swiss native, built the home and completed this masterful work of art. It is a 9-foot by 10-foot solid 3,000-pound Honduran mahogany carving depicting the independence of Switzerland. This piece was stored improperly during about 3 decades that the 324 Florida property was vacant. It was stored in a shed and was subjected to some amount of elements and insects and what have you, vandalism, among other things, over the course of that very long period of storage. The City Council in August of 2016 authorized a contract with ARG to complete basic conservation of the carving in order that the city might more responsibly and thoroughly consider what to do with it, whether to display it, or whether to consider eventually providing additional restoration of the piece in order to either display it here in the city somewhere or to perhaps find another loving home for it where it could be displayed properly by Swiss consulate or some other agency that might be interested. Although the intent of the work that ARG was contracted to provide, and again that was to pick up and transport the tableau from 324 Florida, take it to its studio, and to perform basic cleanup and conservation of the art piece, simply to be able to then wrap it up again, transport it back so it could be stored indefinitely without incurring any further damage. As a result of this basic restoration work that was contracted by the city, what actually happened is that the piece is so resilient that the limited conservation work actually brought the thing back to life. And it looks now much better than these slides depict. It is really, truly an outstanding, unique work of art. Anecdotally, this piece was displayed at the World's Fair in about 1934, 1935 on Treasure Island. And again, it has been displayed in other locations, including, I'm told, the predecessor to the De Young Museum. So it is truly an extraordinary art piece. Again, the conservation services allowed the restoration of the tableau to what we, with, I would say, relatively uneducated artistic opinions, but still to the casual observer, it restored the tableau to a display quality piece. And in order to give it an opportunity to be used and enjoyed, staff has identified the opportunity to bring the tableau back to the city and to install it for display in the lobby of City Hall, immediately inside of the doors that are facing out towards El Camino Real. There is sufficient space, and we've done some evaluation of the building integrity and the means by which the tableau could be installed in that location. The primary issue then that we needed to address was the cost of the transport and the installation back to the city, should that be the interest of the City Council. That cost, based on a contract proposal by ARG, is $35,063. Given that the city has already invested quite heavily in the work associated with preparing the 324 Florida site, purchasing it, preparing it for eventual transformation into a wonderful neighborhood park, and then ultimately constructing that park, not to mention the amounts that we have already paid to restore and treat the tableau. We propose to Recology San Bruno that perhaps they might consider making a donation to the city in order to fund this last remaining piece of work that would bring the tableau back to San Bruno. As part of their community service spirit and their community investment, Recology San Bruno has graciously agreed to provide a donation in the amount of the contract that would allow us to make this final move of the tableau at no additional cost to the city. Should the City Council wish to accept the donation and to proceed with the contract, we would certainly issue a more formal appreciation to Recology San Bruno, although I note that Kirsten Pinocchio, General Manager, is here in the audience this evening, and she may wish to make some comments as well, but we would certainly acknowledge your presence and acknowledge with appreciation the donation that allows the City Council to consider if you would like to proceed with this contract. Alternatives the City Council has previously considered include, again, trying to find somebody who might like to display, to take ownership of the tableau and to display it separately. This has proved somewhat difficult, potentially because although we've made a few outreach contacts, both the size, the bulk, the weight, and the previous condition of the tableau made that, while an interesting and not entirely desirable prospect for the folks that we contacted, although we can certainly continue to do that either now or potentially in the future, should the city decide at some future time that you no longer wish to display the tableau. Just referring to the picture that's on the screen, just to be clear, what would come back is the back, or the top piece would sit on top of the piece that's shown in the front. The original piece was further embellished with 5 cabinet doors on the base of the tableau that were intricately carved as well. Those were all vandalized and removed during the long storage period in the shed. So the proposal is to simply fill in those openings with a fabric cover. And certainly, should there be funds available or some other interested party in the future, though we have pictures of what those doors originally looked like, and they could potentially be recreated to restore the tableau to its full original condition and beauty. In any case, I think we're very proud of the fact, although this has a unique but limited place in San Bruno's history. This is not necessarily a town that has a huge Swiss national population, it is truly such an extraordinary piece that we're recommending to you tonight that we take the opportunity to be able to enjoy it, display it, and relish a moment in the city's long and glorious history. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I had the opportunity with a few other council members to see it in storage, and it's truly extraordinary. So to have it in City Hall and have it on display is really going to allow people to appreciate what it is and its history. So to thank Recology again for all that you do, not just picking up mattresses in the street, but you're doing other things for us too. So I really want to say thank you to Recology, to you, Kirsten, and all of your staff for everything you do for us. It's really appreciated. Thank you very much. Any other questions or action? This is a great way to close the meeting.
How soon would it be displayed?
Okay, within 30 to 45 days.
Okay,
Great. Okay.
very nice. Thank you, Recology. And
Anyone
with
else?
that,
I would,
go ahead.
thank you. I would like to suggest we also have some kind of either a plaque or
Oh, yeah.
some kind of
Yeah.
something that would tell a little bit of the history and where it came from.
Yeah, absolutely. So I forgot to mention that our Community Development Director, David Woltering, has already volunteered to provide the narrative for a piece of a sign that we would install in front of it, because obviously it has a very interesting story, and we would like visitors to our City Hall to be able to understand both why it's there and what it is.
Great, thank you. Thank you, David.
Great.
Yes, you go ahead.
I'd like to adopt the resolution.
Vice Mayor Ibarra,
Aye.
Councilmember Marty Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember Rico Medina,
Aye.
Councilmember O'Connell, Mayor Wayne.
Aye.